You are about to get a whirlwind front row seat tour of Miami-Dade's luxury home market right here in this video. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned because this is the video for you. Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, your Miami-Dade real estate agent, and this is going to be a very in-depth look at exactly what's happening in Miami-Dade's luxury property market, where we have officially upped the median sale price for what it even takes to be considered a luxury home in Miami-Dade, whether it's a luxury single-family home that's everything over 1.8 million to a luxury condo, which is everything over 1.3. And we have increased those from 1.5 up to 1.8, and then 1 million up to 1.3 for single family homes, and then for condos, townhomes, and villas respectively. Now this represents everything, all the top 10% of sales in each of these categories, all right? And this is normal, relatively speaking, for this to adjust over time as the median sale price continues to increase here in Miami-Dade. And the reason that we do this is to look at the two different markets separately, the normal and then the luxury markets separately, because they are so different. And that way we can have a better context, a better understanding, and a more accurate representation of what's going on when we differentiate the two categories, okay? So instead of lumping them together like most people do and they just say, here's the data, we actually separate them and we say, okay, here's what's happening in the luxury market, here's what's happening in the normal market. That way you can be the best prepared and best educated consumer of the real estate market in order to make the best informed decision for yourself and for your family in this honestly wild Miami real estate market, okay? So, and as far as I know, I'm still the only one doing consistent luxury market updates on YouTube for Miami-Dade. So smash the like button if you appreciate all the extra effort and time that it takes to not just make these videos for you guys, but to make extra videos and extra work for you for free, okay? So I think it's worth a like and a subscription personally. I don't know about you, but one thing I can tell you is that, when you're working with an agent who pours into the data on a daily basis nonstop and knows the data off the top of their head like this, it helps you out in negotiations. That's something I can tell you for sure. I can't tell you how many times my ability to rattle off data off the top of my head has helped my clients in negotiations. So if that's something that you're, interested in benefiting from, all my contact info is in the description down below. Now, despite new listings tracking down a bit, active listings, aka supply, are still headed for the moon, which is the green line there, and then the blue line is the new listings, okay? So the number of active listings took a 30 unit increase for single family homes by 2.4%, all right? From 1,251 to 1,281. Year over year, we see a jump of 213 units for sale, or 19.9% from 1,068 to 1,281. So back here was when we were at that 1,068, and now we're at 1,281. So think about that, an almost 20% increase in the number of active listings, aka inventory, in 1 year for single family homes, luxury single family homes, which again is everything over $1.8 million, all right? And by the way, we're gonna go all through single family homes first, and then we're gonna do condos after single family homes. So if you're only interested in condos, there will be time codes down below where you can skip ahead, okay? So the blue line there, the number of new listings actually softened a little bit from 228 to 272. That's a 5.6% decrease of 16 less new listings. Now, year over year, we had 217 new listings last March, so that's an increase of 25.3%, or 55 additional units, okay? So that's down here. You can see that's where we had 217 new units for sale right there. And then right here is this past month where we had 272, which is that 25.3% increase. So almost 20% increase in the number of active listings for sale, and then a 25.3% increase in the number of new listings coming on the market, okay? Now, next up, we're gonna look at average days on market and the close price to original price ratio as I try to size that reasonably here. So average days on market increased 12.7%. That's the green line there, from 131 to 150 days on market in March. Last March was 137 days on market for a year-over-year increase of 9.5%. Now, close price to original price ratio, if you're not familiar, all that is a percentage expressing the difference between what a seller is asking for versus what they ultimately got for a property. So if it was listed for $2 million and it sold for $1.9 million, then that's a 95% close price to original price ratio. And the close price to original price ratio for March came in at 91.1%. That's actually down a fairly substantial percentage from 92.6%, okay, last month. So sellers have had to take a little bit bigger of a haircut from the original listing price from March compared to February. However, it is better than last March's 89.4%, okay? Next up, we're gonna be looking at median sale price here for single family homes and the number of sales. Median sale price for the luxury range, 1.8 million, over 1.8 million, came in at 3.125 million, which is up from 2,989,000. Okay, so from 2.989 to 3.125 from 1 month to the next, which is a 4.6% increase that happened from February to March, or $136,000 difference. Now, year over year, we are up only 2.9%, or $87,500 from $3,037,500, okay? So if you're following along on the green line there, you can see a little bit of that tick up month over month. That was at 4.6, and then year over year is going to be right here, less of a tick up, but still overall higher. But you can see that overall, luxury single-family home prices have more or less been trading sideways for the last couple years here, which is interesting to note, okay? Especially when you take into consideration that we have way more inventory. I mean, you know, nearly 20% more inventory in just 1 year, not to mention, you know, there's a lot more inventory than 2 years ago. So that tells us that there is still a very strong demand for luxury single-family homes in the Miami-Dade market. Now, looking at the number of sales in the blue line there, we see that it absolutely rocketed up to 105 sales from 73 last month. That's a 42.7% increase in just 1 month. That's that big line up right there, okay? That's an increase of 32 additional sales. Now, year over year, there was 92 sales last March, which is an increase of 14.2%, okay? So not as big of an increase year over year from here to there as it was last month, right? And then we also saw that, you know, there was a big February to March increase last year as well. So not a big surprise that as we're going into the spring market, we're seeing more sales. That's pretty typical, but the luxury market doesn't always play by the typical market rules, okay, or the normal market rules. So, you know, seeing that big uptick from February to March is pretty standard for both markets, but you don't always see the standards of the real estate market playing out in the luxury market. But that is one example of something that we tend to see because, you know, it's the spring market. People are, you know, the holidays are over and things are starting to pick back up, you know, the January, February hustle and bustle getting the year going. And then, you know, February comes around, January's over, people going under contract. You know, especially a lot of clients that I've been working with are coming from up north, you know, whether it be the Northeast or even from Canada. And they said, hey, we just got done with a crazy cold winter. Apparently this was a really bad winter up there, and they're done. They're sick of it and they're just ready to buy down here. So that has been a lot of the clients that I've personally been working with on the buyer side. Now, next up is months of inventory and expired listings. So months of inventory, all that is if no new listings came on the market, how long would it take to sell the existing supply? months of inventory took a big drop from 17 to 12 months of inventory, but it is still a buyer's market. Last March was also 12 months of inventory. And then the blue line there, the expired listings, you can see jumped up from 215 up to 215 from 195. That's 20 additional expired listings from February to March, a 10.3% increase. And then year over year, we see it's a 12.6% increase from 191 up to 215 expireds from last March to this March. So more expired listings, but that's going to probably come with the territory anytime you have a big increase in inventory, okay? Especially the fact that we're not at a, we're not at a place where we're at a lacking of inventory. We have almost a surplus of inventory, which is indicated by the fact that we're in a buyer's market, okay? Now, we're going to move on to luxury condos at this point in time. And for anybody who skipped ahead to the condo time code, hello, welcome to this part of the video. And for anybody who stuck through single family homes into condos, thank you so much for helping out my watch time on this video. Love you guys. Smash the like button. You might as well, okay? Now, number of active listings, that's the green line there. And then the blue line is number of new listings. Active listings came in at 1,944, which was down slightly by 23 units last month, or 1.2% from 1,967 in February. So year over year, we actually see that we're up from last March by 287 additional units of supply or additional inventory, which is 17.3% more from 1,657, okay? So from right here, 1,657 to right here, 1,944. Now moving on to new listings. New listings came in at 347. It's a decent little dip down from 408 new listings last month. It's a difference of 61 less units or 15.0%. Year over year, however, we're up pretty decently again, this time by 46 units or 15.3%. So more luxury condo inventory coming on the market. Again, this is everything over $1.3 million. Now, moving on to the next graph here, we see that the condo market picked up a bit in terms of days on market and close price to original price ratio. The average days on market came in at 154, though that's only 2 days quicker than last month. It's 44 days quicker than last March's 198 days on market. This is the green line here if you're following along. That's a 22.2% speed up from this point right here, okay? So that was kind of a little bit of a low point. Right here was after March. Things dipped down. That's that spring market speed up. But this was, it would be January, February, March would be right about there. Okay, so that's the high point of this line right there. And then right now we're down here at 154. Okay, so we have a bit of a speed up going on from there to there. But that's it's just one data point. We don't know if the market is going to speed up like it did last spring, but it's definitely possible, in which case we could potentially see days on market getting much lower down into the 120 range. So we'll be watching that. You will be the first to know if you're following this channel, especially if you're subscribed and have rung the notification bell. All right, now close price to original price ratio came in at 92.6%. That's up just a little bit, 0.4% from last month, meaning that sellers are getting a little bit closer to their original asking price. However, year over year, that's down 0.6% from last March, okay? So that's a sign that sellers are perhaps feeling, that little extra competition in that 17.3% increase in active listings, okay? Now, overall, luxury condo prices are still trading sideways stays for the most part in the long run, as we can see in this next graph. That's that green line there. And, you know, they decreased a little bit last month while sales took another big jump, which is the blue line. So median sale price for luxury condos, that's everything over 1.3 million, came down $95,000 from 2.175 million to 2.08 million, which is a 4.4% reduction month over month. It's a pretty decent reduction month over month, okay? Now, do keep in mind that, you know, sales are a lagging indicator, okay? So things that closed in March went under contract usually either in February or January, and that's when the market is a bit slower. So the negotiations were happening in January and February where things were a little bit slower. So it doesn't really surprise me to see that median sale price came down a little bit when things were slower in the market, okay? Now, year over year, we're looking at a $65,000 reduction from 2.145 million to 2.08 million, which is a negative 3% difference, okay? So versus this point over here, that's that little dip right there above the hand, just a little bit of a 3%, negative 3% difference there. Nothing too crazy, but it is a data point. But overall, you can see the large trend here is just fluctuating prices, okay? Similar to what we saw with luxury single-family homes. That's why it's really important to work with somebody who knows how to run comps, comparable market analysis to determine, and do it very well, to determine the exact market value of a property, especially with luxury real estate, because there is so much variation in luxury real estate that you don't have in the normal market in terms of the features of the properties. You know, of course, all the normal things play into it, like the location, the size, etc. But when you're dealing with luxury real estate, sometimes people will try to ascribe value to certain aspects of a property that don't actually generate value for that property. So it's important to not only be able to identify that, but to be able to use that as leverage in negotiations, okay? So if that sounds good to you, you know, all of my contact info is in the description down below. Looking at sales, that's the blue line there. We see that it took a pretty massive jump here by 33 additional sales this past month to 134 sales this past March. That's a 32.7% increase month over month. That's a big jump month over month. And in the past 3 months, luxury condo sales have jumped 69.6% from December's 79 sales, okay? So down here in December, that was sort of a low point. We actually saw, you know, again, 79 sales, and then now we see 134. That's a 69.6% increase in sales during a time. Remember how we said that sales are a lagging indicator, meaning that, you know, during a time when, you know, December, things have slowed down, because that's like, you know, things were going under contract in November or potentially even October, sort of the beginning of the holiday season, things slowed down, and then things ramped up real quick this year in terms of sales. So we'll continue to see how that plays out in the spring market, okay? So months of inventory, again, that's how long would it take to sell the existing supply if no new units came to the market. And similarly to single-family homes, months of inventory took a dive this month, but for condos, it was from 19 to 15 months of inventory from February to March. So still in a buyer's market as well. Last March was 10 months of inventory, which was a regular market. So moving slower than last year overall. That's a factor of, you know, more inventory than there was last year. Even though we see, you know, we definitely have an uptick in sales, it's not as much as we had, right? So we see that that's showing up in our months of inventory. Now, expired listings, all that is when a contract expires between a listing agent and a seller and the home is no longer on the market, okay? So for luxury condos, expired listings took a pretty decent jump from 230 in February to 319 expireds in March, which is an 89 unit increase of 38.7%, okay? So what does all this mean if you're a buyer or a seller of luxury real estate in Miami-Dade? Well, what it really means is, you know, there's a lot more inventory. So if you're a buyer, that's a good thing. If you're a seller, that means that you need to be very shrewd about your listing price, because if you're not, then you might end up chasing the market down after you get to a certain point where the days on market are getting worrisome to potential buyers who are looking at it and wondering, hey, why has this property been on the market so long? What's wrong with it, right? I'm sure everybody has had that inclination or that instinct when they've seen a property on the market for a long time. Sometimes there's nothing wrong with the property, they just had it listed way too high for way too long, okay? So you have to be sensitive to the market. You have to listen to what the market is telling you, okay? Now, if you're a buyer in this market, whether it's luxury single family homes or if it's luxury condos, it's very important to know what the exact market value of that property is, because as you can see, that the price for each, the median sale price, has been trading sideways. So, when there's not a lot of clear evidence as to which way the market's going one direction or another, you're in a situation where it's ever more important to know the exact market value of the property. Why is that? Because you can't say, oh, the market has been trending up for 6 months in a row. That means that we might have to bid over asking price in this super hot market. Or hey, the market has been trending down for 6 months in a row. That means we can probably negotiate really strong here, right? Now, you always want to be able to negotiate, but if you fall in love with a property and you think that it's that you have more room to negotiate than you do, you might end up losing that property that you fell in love with. Or if you fall in love with a property and you overpay for it, and then next thing it's not going to appraise, or you're overpaying for what the actual market value of it is, then you have to wait. If you are doing a jumbo loan and you have to come to some type of determination with the seller as to who's going to make up the difference, or if you're paying cash, then you have to wait a long time for the value to make itself up with market appreciation, which, as you can see, is sort of anybody's guess with how things are going sideways, okay? So you don't want to get underwater on a luxury property in Miami-Dade, because the appreciation for luxury real estate here is slower than it is for the normal market, okay? There is still appreciation, but overall, it's not as bombastic as shall we say. Now, what does this mean also if you're a seller is, marketing is probably the most important thing for your property, other than it showing well, okay? Making sure that it's clean, all of the stuff that, that you want to make sure a property checks the boxes of. You want to make sure that it shows well, that you have plenty of time to show the property, meaning like time slots to show it to buyers, that buyers are able to get in there. But also the marketing needs to be absolutely excellent. And I know I always preach this on my channel, but just in case it's your first time here, my personal perspective on this is that good marketing of a property, no matter what the price range is going to sell that property to the right buyer before they even step foot through the door. They're stepping foot through the door just to confirm that what they saw is what's actually there, okay? So that is super, super important. Can't stress it enough. And, every situation is different though. So if you're thinking about buying a luxury property in Miami or selling a luxury property, whether it's a single family home or a condo, townhome, villa, doesn't matter what it is, reach out to me. I will address your specific circumstances and situation and give you my honest, unbiased feedback and advice. I'm here to be a resource for the community. So reach out to me and I'd love to help you out. All my contact info is in the description down below. And if you made it this far to the video, can't think of a single reason in the world not to smash the like button, hit subscribe, ring the notification bell. And if you have something to say, drop a comment down below. I'd love to hear what you guys, what your comments, questions, concerns, or if you just want to encourage me to, keep doing videos, would love to see that as well. Love to see people engaged on the channel, honestly. It just makes me really happy to see that. So Jake Fletcher here with the Fletcher Group at eXp Realty, your Miami real estate agent, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.